at most after the summit. There are three most frequently used words at YGA. So to achieve the first together, I'm going to invite our speakers in a minute, but let's watch the video. Thank you.
Hello! We are in the middle of nowhere.
Videoda izlediğiniz kişi
The person you have seen on the video is the youngest Turkish sailor to circumnavigate the world, Ezgim. Ezgim is working diligently for the scientific movement at the moment. So Ezgim Mıstıkog, the floor is yours. Ezgim, welcome. Together with Ezgim, I mean, we know one another for a long time. Ezgi participates in a camp by YGA in our secondary school. I think it was 2012, and I was a leader, a coach for the camp. So we met Ezgim there, and I'm very happy to be sharing this scene with you. Please introduce yourself. I am Ezgim, I'm 22 years old, and I'm from Hatay. My YGA journey started with YGA's program for secondary schools, and this program was shot at Özyeğin University. And it's very good to be together with you again. And I started my high school, and I came here together with you. I wanted my YGA journey to continue, and I participated in the interviews. I shared my applications, and the expected email was delivered to me. I was not chosen. Well, I was rather disappointed, and at the time I thought that my journey ended there, but it was not the case. I went to Holland for university, and I had a world tour, and I came back to Turkey. You may ask why. Because there was the earthquake, and I'm from Hatay, and it was somehow belated for me to come to a real understanding of what happened. But one day I came together with YGA again, and I have worked for the Role Model Teachers program. How does it feel to get rejected by YGA and then being part of it again? Because we have so many similar stories, and you are here now. So we watched it on the video, and I'm very excited for the remaining part of the story. So could you please talk to us about your journey, your voyage around the world? So this was the most challenging sailing competitions in the world. They divide the world into four sections. You have four levels. The first is from the UK to Cape Town through the Atlantic Ocean, and the second level starts from Cape Town, and you pass through the Indian Ocean and go to New Zealand. And from New Zealand, you turn up to the Pacific, and you get your finish at Uruguay. And after Uruguay, uh, there is this last level, which is defined as returning back home, and this ends in the UK. So every level lasts for about 45 days, during which we were not able to communicate with our families. We were completely isolated, but at every stage we were able to adapt to our lives. So this lasted for 8 months, and it started in September. So actually, you answered it partially. It's forbidden to use technology in this competition, but presently it's very hard for people to stay away from technology even for a couple of minutes. How were you able to cope with this? During this competition, technology is forbidden, and we wanted to take digital cameras with us, and they were not allowed, and we captured our shots with analog cameras, and we used analog radios. We had to use a fax machine, and it was only when we were close to the land that we were able to be informed about an approaching storm, and it was through the fax machine. GPS was not allowed, and we used this device. So we have this observer who found our coordinates. So we went back in time, like for 50 years. So the conditions are really harsh, and I presume it was equally difficult to be selected to the team. How was your selection team? I have seen my team on Instagram, and there is this rather long election process. I've later learned that 1,500 people applied to this, and I came to the understanding that it was not enough for you to be a very good sailor. You were expected to be a good team member. You were expected to be able to work efficiently with other people, and you were expected to be ready in terms of psychology. We were two Turkish people in the team. The others were English and French people, and we have started our world tour with this boat, this yacht you see in the background. So we keep talking about this, and it's really very interesting. Could you talk to us about your uh, typical day aboard? How many of you have seasickness? Well, you are not alone. Marco, our team leader, got sick because the boat is not paving its route, its way, in a stable manner. So it was swerving to the left and to the right, as you can see on the photograph, and that created a seasickness in some of our team members. As part of the team were aboard on the deck, some others were below, and we were sharing our roles and responsibilities, and we were sleeping. As we were sleeping, we tied ourselves onto our beds because you could just fall down, and there was no private space on the boat. And it was a real concern for all of us to to reduce the weight. We had limited water and we did not have any mirrors. We were not able to see how we looked like. And as far as food is concerned, we used to store everything aboard, and we used canned food mostly. These are our last oranges. That's why we were very happy, because we were not able to see oranges for a very long time. As far as the weather conditions are concerned, this is the Indian Ocean. There you could be surrounded by ice mountains, icebergs, and sometimes our ropes got frozen. In the Atlantic, on the other hand, we suffered from excessive heat, especially around the equator. You were not able to find shadows at all. But of course, being on the ocean has its interesting dimensions as well. For example, at night time, you only see the stars. There is no other source of light above you, and it's the stars which lightens up your world, and it feels like you are traveling in outer space actually. And You will be seeing it in the next slide. We have passed through some rather difficult routes. We have not seen any planes, any ship, and we felt that we did not belong to here. This was a place for birds, for whales, for nature. Therefore, we tried to pass through these regions and tried not to disturb the nature there. And I really felt the coldness in the midst of the Indian Ocean as you were talking. So you talked about many challenges and many difficulties. Have there were there any moments when you were like you lost your hope? We were a rather ambitious team, and we wanted to go to places as fast as we could, and this is how we won the first level. But winning is not enough. You should be able to enjoy the process itself. And when we were like affected by our ambition that much, I felt unhappy at times because we had some tense moments and we had some potential dangers. Let me explain this with an example. So this is the Indian Ocean, and we were the vessel which went up to the most southern part. And due to the shape of the Earth, the more you go to the south, the distance you will be trotting will be shorter. And we were not under a threat of life. We were roaming between the 40th and 50th degree latitudes, and these latitudes were called like they were roaring, and it's like a snowball effect. And you could hear the roaring sounds of the waves, and the waves were so high, as tall as high rising buildings. If anything would happen to us, I mean, a plane could come to you, but they would not be able to go back because the fuel would not be enough. So our captain leader decided to come up with some strict rules, like no coffee, no tea, and he wanted us to focus on the voyage only. And this was a kind of martial law, and I got angry even now, as you can see, because at one point he didn't see me sufficient, and this was a psychological burden, and I've questioned my place in the team. And the mentality was like, we are in a competition, and there is no room for errors, and only the best could take part. So we won the competition, but then the process was not that bright for me, and we came to New Zealand, and CEO Marco phoned me, and I was expecting to say that, I was sent a plane ticket and I was out of the team, but that was not the case. But what he told me was that this is a teamwork, and he told me not everyone will be your ideal teacher, and please try to get the best out of people and ask this to yourself. What do you want to remember after this competition? Do you want to remember the tense moments you had with the captain, or do you want to remember your nice experiences, which are really constituting your dream? And that was very helpful indeed. It would be useful to repeat it. I mean, we've talked about it several times. First, the comrade, and then the route, the journey. So you need to find your comrades, your team members first. And happily, Marco has highlighted this to you, and he reminded this important fact. How was the remaining part of the competition? This is where the real action starts. We continued towards the Pacific, and uh, and we turned around the Cape Horn. This is the Mount Ararat of the sailing world. It's very wavy. You have some strong currents and great storms. So we were able to survive, but after 2 days, we went through a very serious storm and we got a serious accident and we looked around whether everyone was okay or not. And then we have seen a crack in our boat and we were sinking, albeit slowly, but we were sinking. So it was like at this point, I felt very close to death, and that brought along an awareness because I came to the understanding that we were rather small creatures in the midst of that huge ocean. I realized that all the titles we had and our wealth and our belongings, that they didn't have much meaning. And I think the same kind of understanding was embraced by all members within the team because we were able to cleanse ourselves of this harsh ambition we shared, and there were only 5 days ahead of us when we would be finishing the competition, and we've decided to go to the Falkland Island. The Falklands Island is very interesting because we do not have internet on the island, no planes, but there are more penguins. I mean, a higher number than the people living there, and the whole country came to help us. There were several thousands of people living there, and we were able to catch up with the fourth level. This was the last level, and we were voyaging out towards our finish. But then we went through another storm, and all the repairs and fixes we've done proved useless, and we started sinking again, and we stopped at the Madeira island. And we were very sad and we were very disappointed. You can only imagine it. There is this dream in front of us, but we were not able to reach that dream. So Marco came up again and he again reminded us some important things. We are out of the competition because we got help and we stopped at the Falkland Islands, but he told us that we will be fixing this vessel and we will be continuing with our route. Who are willing to stay there? Well, I've stayed there. Some others decided to leave because competition was their number one priority. But then we were able to reach the United Kingdom and we completed our tour. And more importantly, we were able to be the youngest Turks who were to circumnavigate, who circumnavigated the world. Ezgi, congratulations. So this is my last question. A bit challenging, perhaps.
What's the biggest difference between Ezgim before the circumnavigation versus after? After this contest, I became aware of the following. In the past, I regarded everything as winning or losing. I misunderstood the whole game. I was not focusing on the process. I was not learning anything from the process. And as I was moving with that mentality, as a second grader in high school, I stopped sailing because I was losing all the time and I was unable to reach the success levels that I desired and I wasn't enjoying it any further. I am sure that some of you enjoy doing something, you have a hobby, but then you decided I will get nothing out of this and you stopped, you dropped out. It's such a shame, isn't it? Wouldn't it be such a shame if I didn't go back to sailing? What if I were cross with YJ because I was not chosen? This would have never come true. I wouldn't be the first to circumnavigate such a young Turk, and I wouldn't be here on this stage. Everyone has a purpose in life. We all do. There is a reason why we are here. It's a rapidly spinning world, is very competitive. I totally agree. But we need to stop and think, what do I want? What am I doing and why? Am I living my own life or am I living someone else's life? And the answers that you will receive to these questions about your dreams, your purpose, they will come in whispers. No one is going to turn your head around and say, this is what you were created for. The sound is always really weak. It's a whisper. But be aware of the whisper. Do not turn it down. Whatever you're interested in, whatever makes your heart beat faster, don't let go of that. Thank you. It was a lovely conversation, Ezgi. Thank you. My pleasure.